We admire the fire. We celebrate the spark. In a world that prizes output over input, we have turned burning for God into a competitive sport. We hustle, we serve, we lead, and we give until the light in our eyes starts to look more like smoke. Most of us aren't afraid of failing. We're afraid of stopping. We've convinced ourselves that the busier we are, the holier we must be. But there is a dangerous deception in a dry lamp. Today, we look at the tragedy of Hathi, the lamp who loved the flame but hated the oil. If you feel like you're running on fumes, if your yes to God has become a burden to your soul, this story is for you. This is the mystery of the lamp without oil. In the corner of the master's workshop stood Hathi. He was a magnificent vessel, forged from heavy bronze and polished until he gleamed like a fallen star. Hathi was built for endurance, designed to stand on the high pillars of the palace to light the way for weary travelers. Hathi had a singular, driving passion: the flame. He watched the smaller clay lamps on the lower shelves and felt a surge of pride. They are dim, Hathi thought. They flicker at the slightest breeze. But I am strong. I will carry a fire so fierce it will melt the shadows of the valley. I will be the master's greatest worker. One evening, the master approached with a heavy stone jar. It contained the oil of intimacy, the quiet, hidden fuel that costs everything to produce but gives everything in return. As the master tipped the jar toward Hathi's reservoir, Hathi pulled back in his spirit. "Not yet, master. The sun is setting. The people are waiting. I don't need to be filled. I need to be lit. Don't waste time in the shadows pouring oil when I could be out there performing my duty. I have the strength. I have the wick. Just give me the fire." Hathi believed that activity was the measure of love. He thought the quiet time of filling was a delay to his destiny. The master looked at Hathi with eyes of grieving compassion. He knew the law of the kingdom. A lamp that tries to be its own fuel will eventually consume its own heart. But the master is a gentleman. He will not force his presence where it is not wanted. He reached out and touched a flame to Hathi's dry, thirsty wick. At first, Hathi was spectacular. He roared with a violent, impressive light. He stood on his pillar and shouted his brightness into the dark. People looked up in awe. "Look at Hathi!" they cried. "Look at his zeal! Look at how much he is doing for the kingdom!" But deep inside Hathi's bronze frame, a silent war was raging. Because there was no oil to draw from, the fire began to feed on the wick itself. The heat grew uncontrollable. The bronze began to warp. The beautiful light turned into a thick, choking black soot that blinded the very travelers Hathi intended to guide. Hathi was working, but he was dying. He was serving the master, but he was losing the master's likeness. With a final, agonizing pop, the wick disintegrated into gray ash. The flame vanished. Hathi sat on his high pillar, cold, blackened, and empty. He had become a monument to burn out a vessel that was too busy to be filled. Then the master returned. He didn't scold the broken lamp. He gently lifted Hathi from the pillar and brought him back to the workshop. With a soft cloth, he began to wipe away the soot of doing. "Hathi," the master whispered, "you were so busy shining for me that you forgot to sit with me. You gave the world your works, but you gave me no room." The master opened the reservoir and began to pour. The oil was cool, it was fragrant, it was heavy, and for the first time, Hathi didn't try to rush. He sat in the silence, letting the oil reach every dry crevice of his being. He realized that the glory of a lamp isn't the fire it makes, but the oil it has. The master isn't impressed by how fast you burn. He is moved by how deeply you abide. Maybe you're watching this and you realize the soot has built up. You're tired, you're brittle, you're doing kingdom work, but you haven't spoken to the king in weeks. You have plenty of zeal, but you have no intimacy. Hear the master's voice today. Stop trying to be the fire. The fire is his job. Your job is to stay in the jar. Your job is to sit at his feet until the hollow places of your heart are heavy with the oil of his presence. Burnout isn't a sign of devotion, it's a sign of a dry wick. Come back to the secret place. Let him fill you, Because a lamp full of oil doesn't have to try to shine, it simply does.